Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of StarSound Speaks. This is your host, Irlianna Samsara of StarSound Astrology. So today being the solar eclipse, the long-awaited solar eclipse in Taurus at 10 degrees of Taurus, conjunct Uranus. I just had some thoughts and wanted to share them with you. But before I get into that, this won't be a very long video, but just to say, I hope you've been enjoying all the insights that we've been bringing up with Sharon Knight, Michael Bartlett. We've got more coming. Andrea Michel's coming back. Really excited about that. We'll be sharing other facets, turning the jewel of this very important eclipse cycle and turning the jewel to see the various facets and the potentials that they can bring. Anyway, so, and just to say a little announcement, I am going to be offering the course, the astrology building blocks, and that will be in June 14th, more information forthcoming, and giving you the tools for building a chart when you're being new to astrology, where the goal is to introduce you to the richness without getting overwhelmed, and also to work in some ancient astrology as well. So it'll be really cool. Anyway, more on that later. To just share with you, the whole Uranus conjunction. So I can pull up the chart here and show you. The conjunction with Uranus, which is the game changer. Uranus is the wild card, and it's it represents that, the archetype of sudden change. This is going to bring sudden, rapid change. It feels like it's coming out of nowhere. Might be very much upsetting, like upsetting the apple cart of our comfort zone, for sure. The good news is we've got this beautiful stellium in Pisces, where Venus is in exaltation, in a very honored position, Jupiter in its domicile of Pisces, where it does its best work, Neptune as well, and now Mars has joined the fray. So you've got a stellium, 4 planets. That's really powerful energy regarding what's Pisces? Oceans. When I think about Earth changes, this could be a very big portent of sudden, rapid change with oceans, with land. Like when I see this energy here, it's like the ocean, the overcoming energy, the planets moving in this direction, overcoming this eclipse. So playing a big part in this. I also see it as, the bright side is that the outrageous transcendent awareness that, if you haven't heard the chat with Andrea Michel that we did a few weeks ago, please, go back and listen to that, because it was really, gosh, I cried at the end. So powerful and moving. So in the midst of all these very intense and can really very much tumultuous changes to the value systems, to our money, to our food supply, to everything that we find comfortable, there is some outrageous divine assistance. But anyway, what I wanted to share today with more, specifics is, tips that we can do in this eclipse window, which, of course, we have the lunar eclipse will be May 16th in Scorpio, 24 degrees, Scorpio conjunct the South Node. So, I'm thinking about land and land masses, and what would it be like if our comfort zone gets disrupted? Who do we be? Do we get cranky and do we go into chaos, or do we breathe deeply? Kundalini yoga, I think of Uranus as Kundalini awakening. So pranayama is a very important practice that would really serve, and it does serve humanity, and it was given to us by yogis for thousands of years, to elevate one's consciousness. And we are at this turning point in our evolution where it is time to, stand up, be in that higher space, bring forth that the future self, the enlightened self. It's thinking about going into the future in this eclipse window, and seeing yourself as you would like yourself and the world to be, and bring that forward into the present. And Mother Nature is calling loudly to us for that. Yesterday I noticed, and then, well, actually today I scanned the news, and there was this an 11-foot alligator was on this highway in Central Florida, and it backed up traffic for 5 miles to clear the alligator off the road. So I think that when you can you imagine sitting in that traffic jam? You know, talk about Mother Nature and interruptions of one's comfort zone. Here's the eclipse talking, right? The animals, us displacing so much with overpopulation. These are themes and things that were very much in our face. And the eclipse is bringing major changes, major endings to that comfort zone, major beginnings, along with the Uranus conjunction, I would say along more enlightened, futuristic perspectives that takes the earth and all of us into account, rather than, oh, my little comfort zone got disrupted, wah, snowflake, right? Another thing that I found, you know, here's a positive note. I love Canada. You guys, you know, mwah, Canadian doctors, today's news, are now prescribing, they are giving as part of their prescription, free passes to Canadian national parks. And they're calling it less pills, more parks. Free passes for getting rid of stress, right? I mean, this is exactly what this eclipse is wanting us to do, reconnecting with nature. And I love the fact that the doctors are now handing out these passes. You know, I mean, you can't ask for some, it's just, yeah, it's pretty fantastic. So that's certainly a great indicator and an inspiration for all of us. And, you know, go to your doctor and tell them to get you a free pass to it, or just take yourself. You don't even have to be sick, just preventive medicine, right? Just go before and you will not get sick. You will be healed on levels that will blow you away. Uranus energy, right? Mind-blowing, inventive, out of the box thinking for your health and for your well-being and for all the, you know, and reconnecting with the things that really mean, and the relationships. You know, we think of Venus and being the ruler of this solar eclipse, the love and relationships and the things that mean the most to us. And again, you know, being you know, really thinking about the water. I think about with the going back to the Pisces, this situation here with all that water. I think about the places that, like in Tenerife and Canary Islands, you know, there's this kind of this landmass that's kind of like hanging on a thread. And if that landmass moves in just the littlest bit, it's like a small, it's technically small relatively to the earth, underwater. I want to say it's a boulder, but it's bigger than that. But if that thing, even just the slightest movement from that would actually send in a tsunami across the entire Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, somebody to think about, and that is directly across from Florida. So, and we are in Florida, the 6th Saturn return. So yeah, some major changes here, some major turning points in our evolution. So that's the Canary Islands. I also think about, hold on. I think about the Cascadian subduction zone, which is right off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. You know, again, you know, and you can go and research this. I believe it was the Atlantic magazine about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, that talked about what would happen if those plates, the two plates, the tectonic plates, one is going under the other. That's what they call it, subduction zone, in the Cascadian mountain range area, and how that would affect the land masses. It would be this outrageous, you know, catastrophic event, obviously, as you can imagine, with the water coming in and inundating that coastline. So I think about that with this eclipse, you know, where it is pointing to massive earth changes. And who knows when that would happen. You know, it's not a matter of if, but when, according to the scientists. And I have to say, just very, very straight here, you know, we are looking at these kinds of changes, or that level of engagement with these eclipses. So, you know, who do we be in a situation like that, especially if you live in the Pacific Northwest? You know, what's your plan? You know, how do you, first of all, mentally, 95% of it is your mind. You know, are we ready for a very intense, sudden change that we may not see coming? Speaking of coming, I think of becoming, like becoming. Well, Ram Dass had a very a beautiful way of, I think, I don't know, it was the name of a documentary, but it was called Becoming Nobody, like nobody, not in a bad way, right? It's like divorced from the ego, the egoic self, becoming no body. Really vast concept there, great for meditation and reflection. And one other thing is this wonderful, can't wait to share this with you, this beautiful singing group. I thought about an RX, remedies, right? To bring us into the highest alignment with the potential for what these eclipses can bring. Certainly, yes, disruption, but freedom and liberation, right? Uranus rules both. And if we are willing to step into that unknown and move into our future selves, we have rewards waiting for us. There is this liberation. So I think too about Taurus ruling the voice and the neck and the vocal cords, connecting with a radical return to the earth. So the Canadian doctors, man, you know, kudos, you're on it. But we can all be Canadian doctors and prescribe ourselves visits to earth and connecting deeply, going on these, making time for us to be in nature. I love singing too. And there's this wonderful, I want to show you this amazing group that I discovered years ago, and it's called Laboratorium Piśni, and they're from Poland. And they sing these outrageous folk songs, and they're polyphonic singers. So polyphonic, so there's these incredible melodies, toning, overtoning, very similar, I find, to the Tuvan throat singers of Mongolia. So I would encourage you to look up these folks, Laboratorium Piśni, these wonderful goddesses, because if anything, these eclipses are pointing to, it's, you know, Venus being the ruler of this eclipse, female, shamanic, participatory, shamanic initiation into the earth. I mean, that's kind of like bottom lining it, right? Listen to some of their, Stoipo Moru is one of their most popular downloaded songs, and it's these beautiful folk songs, but they really, I always get chills when I hear them because they really bring me into these outrageous places and connection when I feel disconnected, when I'm working, and I just stop and just let go, put my feet on the ground and move into these deeper spaces. It's certainly very rewarding. There's the Tuvan, I mentioned just before, the Tuva is a place in Mongolia. There's a Tuvan, T-U-V-A. It's this area of Mongolia, and there's also throat singers. They're called Tuvan, you know, I guess it's Tuvan throat singing. Here we are. And there are some women that do it too. And here's this one, the chest voice, and it's in harmonics inducing. It's men and women and these big shamanic drums. I mean, it's just outrageous. Some of the songs and the melodies, and they just take you back. They have incredible voices, similar to the way the Tibetan monks have those toning and overtoning throat singing. So that would be my recommendation, is like go for it. Find you know, have fun with these groups and singing, and just find your voice and find their voices, or voices that call to you. And, you know, when you think about the polarity too of this eclipse, in closing, I will say, you know, the voice and then no voice. So silence. Today, before doing this podcast, I sat at my medicine wheel and I listened. And what was the drone? It's a warm day here. And it was, I heard the drone of the neighbors' air conditioners in the neighborhood, right? You know, the drone that goes on, you know, we can't even tune it out, but I became very conscious of that. And also the birds. And I realized that the sound of the air conditioners was more prevalent than the birds. And I thought, wow, what happens if the grid changes and it's, you know, there is no, we have these disruptions, you know, when we have hurricanes or storms or tornadoes or what have you, what occurs, and what doesn't occur, and what gets present. I remember when being outside when one of the hurricanes several years ago, we had lost power for like 2.5 days, and yes, it was uncomfortable, you know, in the heat, but in the evening, I could see the Milky Way, and I hadn't seen the Milky Way on my own in like 20-something years. So to see it it just took my breath away, and it was so silent because there was not the hum of the air conditioner. It was taken away from us. And yes, it was uncomfortable, to deal with humidity and heat and such, but there's this grace and beauty that was laying beyond that. And it's for us to reconnect with. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much. I wish you the most outrageous blessings and beauty and transformation for this eclipse season. And we will be back again. Andrea Michelle. We have Ari Moshe Wolf talking about the nodes and evolutionary astrology coming up next week. So stay tuned. We got more great folks and conversations coming your way. Okay, namaste, everyone. Blessings. This is Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, StarSoundastrology.com. Thank you all for listening. Bye now.